In the wider context of issues for women, this session will focus on the additional issues that Māori women face in the workplace in New Zealand. The colonisation of Aotearoa by 19th century British missionaries led to the country adopting a policy of assimilation of Māori into European culture, and this had a detrimental impact on Māori women. Prior to the colonisation of New Zealand, Māori women played a significant role. Māori women and men were essential parts in the collective whole, and both formed part of the whakapapa that linked Māori to the beginning of the world, and their respective roles were protected and valued. An important indication that there was no hierarchy of sexes can be seen in Māori language, as both the personal pronouns and possessive personal pronouns are gender neutral. Assault on Māori women was also considered to be very serious, and in pre-colonial Māori society, the community would intervene to prevent and punish violence against one's partner. Another important aspect is that women did not become the property of her spouse. Instead, she remained part of the whānau, and whānau were there to support women. However, with colonisation brought English perspectives which were based around men being the head of the family who controlled the household, while women and children were there to be used and abused as they pleased. The effect of land alienation on Māori women was severe. Māori were forced to make a shift from their collective roots to an individualistic style of living in nuclear families. From this, New Zealand saw the social structures of patriarchy where men dominate, oppress and exploit women become very prevalent. Māori women now relied less on their wider whānau and more on their male partners, and as economic dependency on males grew, so did the influence of colonial values, which required women to stay home and fulfil the roles of the good Christian wife. Missionaries also ensured that Māori women would find their mana wahine destroyed in the retelling of myths and legends in an attempt to reverse the ways of Māori culture. Thus, we can see that the colonialisation of New Zealand contributed significantly to the marginalisation we see of Māori women today.
The long-lasting effects of colonisation of Māori women are still evident in today's society. This is shown through Māori women being the most marginalised of those in New Zealand who are not employed in education or training. Seen here on the graph, Māori females have the highest unemployment rate by ethnicity of 15% based on 2016 data. Expanding on that, Māori women under 25 have 2 to 3 times higher unemployment rate at 9.9% than that of the New Zealand Europeans, who are at 4.6%, according to the New Zealand Human Rights Commission in 2018. For those who are in work, Māori women have significantly higher representation in lower skilled manual jobs with low pay. As shown on the graph, the 2017, the median hourly wage for the New Zealand European woman was $24, while Māori women were receiving just over $20 an hour. For Māori females, the relationship between age structure and participation rates is not straightforward, due to the fact that female participation is lower for women in their 20s and 30s than for other working age women. The comparison of Māori and non-Māori female participation rates is further complicated by the fact that this dip occurs at younger ages for Māori women. These disadvantages are largely impacted by ethnicity and age. New Zealand's non-Māori female workforce has been increasing almost continuously since 1891, while Māori female participation has been lower than non-Māori females at every census since comparable data first became available. The Ministry of Women Affairs in 2014 made a suggestion that some ways of improving the economic independence of women with low or no qualifications is firstly to recognise the need for adequate childcare policies and cultural responsiveness in this context for Māori. This includes recognition of other problems such as insecure work and the difficulties of combining paid work and government assistance. In the field of education, Māori females have to compete not just against New Zealand Europeans but also Māori males. Education has predominantly been seen as a colonial form of control. Māori were initially put into schools as a way to bring civilization and social control to the indigenous population. Māori in general are an example of schools failing to provide equal opportunities for all students, and for girls this extends to other aspects of their life where they start viewing themselves as the bottom of the heap. At school, girls are often viewed as presenting behavioural problems and being too smart for their own good. The latter is generally based on girls who speak up and challenge their teachers or peers, defying authority and is subsequently quashed. There is a victim-blaming ideology which is hotly contested by Māori people who accuse schools of failing to educate Māori children and perpetrating systematic violence against children through racist policies and practices.
Adding to this issue is the lack of Māori women in positions of authority within the educational system, with very few professors, principals, or those who are on the career path to get them there. This means fewer role models for young Māori girls to look up to throughout their schooling.
As a result of this, Māori females and males often leave school earlier than non-Māori and are far less likely to complete tertiary studies. Those who do stay in school go through a cycle of poor results during the exams and restricted access to education. Māori experience an inferior education from a younger age. In 1993, 34.3% of Māori 3-year-olds were not in any form of early childhood services, compared to 24.5% of non-Māori. This continues on throughout high school, with 19-year-old New Zealand Europeans being 3 times more likely to enrol in tertiary education than Māori. This has been the case for decades, and yet even today there are very few initiatives to improve the situation. Despite some quotas and scholarships being made available for Māori students, the underlying issues have not been addressed. However, there are ways to battle these issues, such as higher pay for unskilled jobs, as this has a tendency to attract and retain employees, as well as increased introductory level health courses that provide more support and healthier work environments. It is also important that training processes and materials are compatible with Indigenous experiences and practices in order to be able to cater to the needs of Māori.
Māori women as a diversity group face multiple forms of discrimination, which links to the concept of intersectionality, where they are disadvantaged by being both Māori and women. This is referred to as mana wahine Māori, which specifically explains what it is to be a woman in Māori society, coupled with being a Māori woman in non-Māori society. Māori women, like other women, encounter troubles within the patriarchy. They often experience institutional discrimination and biases during processes such as recruitment, retention, promotions, and even human resource policies.
It is universally known that men hold a majority of leadership roles within workplaces, whereas women are perceived in gender stereotyped roles, often occupying supporting roles or lower level positions with lesser complexity and responsibility, such as office work or nursing. As for 2004, Māori women occupied only 1.1% of CEO and managing director positions, with women as a whole only occupying 9% of these roles. This is because many organisational cultures support the good old boys. Minority women often have to conform to professionally set criteria according to the expectations and values within these organisations. Women are also more likely to be judged or scolded when they blow their own trumpets or express their opinions and ideas within the workplace. As well as this, women are less likely to be promoted than males, and when this happens, the woman's performance often far exceeds that of her and her male counterparts. With ideals such as neoliberalism and free market capitalism prevalent in society, most companies or employers are most focused on economic gain, meaning they want their staff to be present and dedicated to their work. Women face discrimination in relation to their external commitments. From the male perspective, women have an interrupted career during parental leave, which takes years to fully recover from, and taking time off for family results in slower job progression. It is evident that women employees having children is still a concern for employers as of 2019. TVNZ recently posted an article stating employers are still asking about baby plans and caring responsibilities during job interviews. In addition, research has shown that Māori women spend more time caring for their whānau and do more voluntary and community work than women from other ethnic groups, meaning further potential distraction or time away from work.
To summarise, patriarchy has been a prominent feature in New Zealand society since colonisation, and both of these factors contributed significantly to the marginalisation of Māori women. Being forced into an individualist style of living resulted in Māori women having to rely on their male partners and losing their power. Current statistics demonstrate the difficulties these women face in terms of unemployment and earning low pay.
The insufficient levels of education which Māori women received has greatly influenced their inability to get ahead in the workforce. Employer perceptions around gender roles and a neoliberal focus on economic gain has also hindered Māori women's ability to progress into better roles or even be hired. It is evident that Māori women suffer from the intersectionality, and the implications for the diversity will continue to be severe until drastic changes are made.